give away.
So why don't you go ahead and what is your take on this coming matchup? Team Holy, Japan, Thailand, Croatia. What are you
So one
betting?
thing one thing that I saw was you got Japan, Thailand, Croatia. If I remember correctly, they're running that dual Spirit Ranger. And they're not running a Guardian that you normally see. And I'm wondering if that might be a factor coming into this game.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have to say that the Guardian may not be totally necessary. One thing that they did though that pigeonholes them a bit is they have 5 players that have most of their sustained damage as projectiles. It's so easily countered. You know, you have both of the Spirit Rangers, mostly projectiles,
Yeah.
unless they're in the sword evasion, just stacking poison and stuff. But outside of that, you have the 2 NGs, which are typically with their rifles or pistols, and their grenades can also be reflected or absorbed. And you have the Power Necro, which typically Death Shroud, you have the Life Blast auto, can be reflected and absorbed. So all of their damage is pigeonholed to projectiles.
Yeah, and we saw Megalodon Confirm kind of exploit that with the walls that they were throwing up. So when you're putting together a comp, you got to be mindful of that. Is how is your damage being dealt?
Right.
And at the same time, you got to start thinking, what's the counter to my comp? Like if you're setting up this comp, no comp is perfect. We saw it for how many weeks in NA, everybody was saying the Apex comp is perfect and it can't be countered and, there's no target. Well, yeah, there is a counter, simple mobility.
There's always a counter.
Yeah, so, when you're putting together a comp, you got to start thinking what's the counter comp and try to at least realize the weaknesses in your comp. And so I think that might be the difference here in our third place game.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing to note that is when you look at these teams and you think, okay, what are they doing? You have to look at what they're doing and then find out what the flaw is. Mm-hmm. So like we saw with Apex, not a lot of mobility. They had a lot of team fighting. They had a lot of support, but not a lot of mobility. So they can't chase you off node, and they can't go for back caps as frequently. So what we saw on our fight night during that upset, where the other team went 2-0, this kind of randomized team went 2-0 is because they saw that, they recognized what was going on, and they countered it. And they didn't really do much in regards to changing a lot of the builds or whatever. They did most of that by changing the way that they play in order to counter it. So looking back at what happened with Megalodon and Japan, Thailand, Croatia, they saw that it was coming from projectiles, and they just countered it.
Yeah. And I wonder if Team Holy is going to make the same choice, if they're going to actually bring in that wall to kind of counter the Lich and counter the projectile damage, or at the same time, if they don't make that adjustment, how the comp is going to favor Japan, Thailand, Croatia. Because I think, honestly, dropping the guard for some team comps is an okay choice. I think, honestly, if you want to play on 3 points, the Guardian doesn't exactly give you a lot of damage. So when he arrives, he's not necessarily going to down somebody instantly. So going with that 5th damage dealer might be a smart choice, especially if it's a tankier class like a Spirit Ranger. I'm curious. I'm curious to see if this no Guardian comp can work for them, or is it just too reliant on projectile damage?
Yeah.
But it looks like we're just waiting on one more member of.
Looks like Team Holy is just waiting on that last member there.
Yeah.
So we're going to be jumping into that as soon as we have that last member in. And as soon as we do, we'll be directing it over to the camera.
Fish and Chips just joined.
All
so
right,
we got all 5 members. We're going to jump into the map and get ready to get started. Going over the builds, I don't think many teams are going to be changing. I'm just curious, did the Guardian make that adjustment? Is he going to bring the wall, or is he just going to stay on standard triple shouts?
We can see here the Guardian didn't make any changes. Phoenix not really changing a whole lot. I don't really think that anybody really made any changes at all either, looking at blue team at all. Just kind of going through it real quick. You see Holy basically doing the same exact thing as before. Mime not taking the MOA anymore and running that Mass Invis. Probably got a little cocky with the MOA.
Yeah.
Didn't really get a whole lot of use out of it, maybe. Who knows? And Fish and Chimps also kind of still running that standard Hambo with the Soldier Rune. Doing a great job as well. Taking a look over at the red team. The red team here. Looks like they're all kind of running the same thing. Running runes of the Parrot, as I'm going to keep calling it. And going down to no trolling, still running that same build. Looks like every team is basically running the same comp, except for Vile decided to take Well of Power over that Spectral Walk, it looks like. I would argue that that was not a good decision, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Unless he switches, I mean, we'll see when he switches out the minions. But
that's gonna provide some good support for his teammates. You know, you get that free stun breaker, but you also get the conditions converted to boons and stab on point that you can provide. He's still running that Wells build, so he can still put that down via ground targeting and sling that out for his teammates should he have to. So that's a little bit less selfish, a little bit more team oriented. So we'll have to see how that works out. Sidley running the same build as before with the pistol shield and running kind of like a turret setup. And Soyce also running the same build as before, running DD with runes of the pack instead of runes of strength now. With his DD build, both Ellie's ready to go with, both Ellie's ready to go with their staff for pre-buff. Let's go ahead and let teams ready up and take a look at these splits here.
So, you know, again, that mid-fight on this map, on Legacy, is so important. So I want to see which team really commits their forces there, and which team is actually going to push the far nodes. So we've got the breakout starting. Looks like blue team is going to send 2 members far. They are splitting. They sent their thief home, but red team has sent the NG and one of their Spirit Rangers over to far. So it's going to be a 2-on-1 on Waterfall in favor of the red team. That's going to be a tough matchup for I'm a Happy Camper.
But conversely, however, blue team got the same setup on the far node there as well, with Fish and Chimps just kind of chasing off Naomi and Stalactite getting that free cap there. It's kind of a similar situation. However, blue team managed to move that close point of theirs into a 2v2 situation. So now they have favorable matchups everywhere, except for Mime getting a little bit trained here. If they're able to get him up with him teleporting up, and it looks like Stalactite is going to be able to do that, if they manage to get him up, they have a favorable matchup here, except Vile going into Lich form here and taking Mime out again. Wow. They get the stomp out pretty soon here, it looks like. And blue team's taking an early lead a little bit.
You know what? At the same time, too, look, still got the 2v2 going on at Waterfall. For a second there, Sidley sort of pulled out, and it looked like he was going to give that fight over to Waterfall, but I think he realized, you know, get back into the fight, try to keep that point neutered, especially with blue team taking Corey uncontested. Red team, you got to get a point now, otherwise this might slip away from you early. You got Vile moving over, trying to do some damage to Stalactite, but not going to work. Just the Ellie damage is too strong. Vile's not tanky enough to stand on that point. I think the Ellie for blue team is going to win that point, that 1v1 very easily, and keep that point in favor of the blue team. Red team is able to full cap Graveyard though, and it looks like they are going to get I'm a Happy Camper down on the Waterfall with the Guardian for blue team also low. So it looks like they're able to not only get mid, but in a second they're going to be able to get Waterfall if somebody from blue team doesn't rotate over. Yep, Guardian for blue team just went down, so he's about to get stomped out as well by the Ranger. So it looks like red team early advantage taking that 2-cap.
Yeah, but the thing is that we have to note that blue team already does have that 15-point lead going into this, but red team already holding that midpoint. And as we know, as Apex really did show us in the previous months, that mid node, when you have a strong player on mid that has a lot of mobility, a lot of sustain, it's hard to get that back. It's the hardest node to get back because there's so much range, there's so much ability for you to move around and stay alive.
Especially with a Spirit Ranger on mid. One thing that I've noticed is on this point, the Spirit Ranger has a lot more room to dodge around and use all of his evasives to his full ability. And we just saw that there. The Mesmer and the Thief for blue team tried to take out No Trolling early, but able to get a lot of dodges off and buy his team some time to support that fight. So, you know, we got that big team fight going in on Graveyard. I don't know if that's the smart decision for blue team. I think I would have tried to split red team up just a little bit more.
And here we go. Blue team's actually putting a lot of pressure on No Trolling. No Trolling didn't actually stand on his healing spring, which clears the conditions that actually wound up taking him out. He could have held his elite finisher a little bit longer, used that elite finisher in the water field to get an extra heal, and he just kind of walked off of it, just allowing the Condis to rip him down over time and not getting any good heals off of that heal. So he went down, and blue team with Mime down now, kind of coming to a standstill here with 1-1 on the split, but good damage coming out from Mime on Vile. Vile's going to get dropped. Naomi's low. It looks like on this right now, it looks like blue team's going to make a comeback again. They're going to flip it into their favor.
Blue team is making a comeback, but red team able to slide over and get Corey back at the very least. But Naomi just lost a one-on-one against Fish and Chips on the other point, so they're going to flip side points. And it looks like blue team is going to get that advantage now with just Sidley trolling the point over at mid. He's about to go down. Blue team able to get back into this game and win mid while flipping side points. Impressive.
Yeah. And with 2 members of red team down now and blue looking fairly healthy, Mime definitely the easiest one to take out. He's already back up to full health out of combat. Blue team takes their home node, they take the midpoint, and they have a lot of pressure going down at the far node with them being able to get up their teammate there. Stalacti's going into downstate from mist form, or sorry, from vapor form there, and red team actually managed to get him down. So blue team's going to have to pull out of this and try to make sure that they can maintain those 2 nodes with Naomi making a move for Waterfall again after just getting dropped to the downstate. Looks like Sidley's going to go around too and turn that into a 2v1, and we're going to see red team try to make a play to get a 2-cap on sides.
This is a smart decision by red team. I think, just not pressuring mid too much, not overcommitting to mid, trying to get into a 2v1 situation on far is definitely the way to go. See if you can get the decap. But the Ellie for blue team is rotating into that point. They need to be able to get Fish and Chips down, and they're just not able to do it. Fish and Chips is doing a great job sustaining himself, and now it is a 2v2 over on Waterfall with Naomi taking a lot of pressure right away from the Ellie. The Ellie has been lights out this game so far. Coming over, putting a lot of pressure on Naomi. Naomi's going to have to try to peel away, try to get over to his teammate and get some support, but the Ellie's just not letting him do that. Red team, though, is going all in on this Waterfall point, rotating 2 more players, rotating over no trolling, and their staff Ellie into the point. Fish and Chips goes down from that pressure. They actually have 5. It looks like 5 players over here on the Waterfall right now, not covering core at all. They really had to get this 2-cap. They're able to full cap the point too, as well as the blue team was trying to res their teammate. So 2-cap in favor of red team. Corey's wide open with just the staff Ellie covering it. But
Vile goes down. I think what might have been a little bit better with the use of Mime there, Mime could have probably moved to Corey and provided his team there with another decap at least, and moved back to mid with someone trying to come back to cover. But what they did, blue kind of over allocated there to Waterfall, and while they did manage to put some good pressure in that and managed to get that decap, it took a really long time with most of red team sustaining players over at that node, and they didn't really get that decap out on Corey and still have it.
I think, though, what the key thing for blue team has been was not only, the point, Waterfall did get capped briefly, but they were able to decap it immediately. I'm not sure what happened there. Somebody from red team wasn't standing on the point long enough because blue team was able to get the decap, and now they're actually winning that fight over on Waterfall. Mimi did just go down, but it looks like the Guardian's in a great spot to pick her up. Vile, though, for the red team, just went down for his team. No Trolling's not going to be able to get over there in time. He is going to be stamped out. No Trolling goes down on the point. Blue team's able to come back and get that Waterfall point in their favor. So, yeah, the slight miscommunication, maybe they overcommitted, but they were able to get that decap right away and get back into this game.
Yeah, blue team definitely putting down a path of destruction on red team right now, managing to get that Waterfall back into their hands, holding that mid cap and trying to push a little bit. We see the Mesmer and the Thief trying to push a little bit towards Corey as well. It looks like they might be able to put some pressure on it with that 2-cap already up, and Fionix doing a great job of having that wall up, making sure that he puts in some good pressure on the enemy range players.
And it looks like blue team is going to get a 3-cap now as they're putting all of that pressure down on the Ellie from red team all the way back by the gate. So Corey is going to be full capped now for the blue team, and now they are sitting there pretty good at a 3-cap. They're already at the magic number for the Lord, but I don't think you go for it here. You just sort of sit back, you play defensively, and you make the red team make a bad rotation.
Yeah, red team's going to have to go all in at some point and make sure that they can get some decaps here, but with Stalactite's down, but he's going to get the res. But here we go. Vile's going to go into the downstate here. Blue team going to get that stomp. Looks like pretty much for free. I don't think they're going to be able to res him up. And here comes the stomp. Right, but yep, there goes the stomp.
Sidley's just
there.
trolling the point. At the same time, they lost mid. Blue team left mid wide open. Naomi was able to get it for his team. So red team able to get mid back, and now Naomi's going to slide over to Waterfall. Let's see if Sidley can hold out until he gets there. No, Naomi had to come back to cover mid real fast, prevent it from getting decapped by the Guardian. So no help is coming for Sidley. Sidley's just going to have to troll out on that point.
Red team is going to have to hope for some sort of 2-cap and wipe situation.
They just got the decap on Corey. That's the kind of situation that they were looking for.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have to make sure that they get to 350 and then rush that Lord all in, or else they don't really have a hope unless they hold a 3-cap or a 2-cap with an uncontested point on the side.
Yeah.
So how they manage to do that, they're going to have to decide in comms right now. I bet they're talking about it right now, discussing the Lord, discussing that that decap at Waterfall. Probably some miscommunication there. They needed to make sure that nobody got that, because with the points ticking up so close with 420 points on blue team, that's going to tick high enough that if they don't make a rush for Lord soon, once they hit that 350, it's not going to be enough.
No. I think the nail in the coffin for this game was losing Waterfall, having Waterfall be full cap for the blue team.
And there's Vile going down and flagged as well. Phoenix managing to get that stomp out. No pressure coming in. He's holding onto his wall reflection a little bit versus these NG and Spirit Ranger as well, holding onto it. Probably could use that a little bit to create some support for Mime. And there it goes, drops it out. Mime blinks out of it, and looks like it's just going to be a fight for sustain. Phoenix and Mime versus some Condis, a lot of Condis. No trolling their main support Ranger. And it looks like they're just going to leave it to be a 2v1, and blue team's probably going to manage to take out no trolling here.
Vile going for the back cap, getting Waterfall to get decapped. Might go for the full cap. No, he's going to go right away. Looks like to the gate, going right for the gate. I don't know. They're not at the number yet. Fish and Chips is sliding over.
They're close. They definitely want to make sure that they can decap those points, send as much damage as they can to Lord, and try to take that into their favor. They got a 2v1 situation at the midpoint. They might be able to hold that off. They might be able to take him into downstate, but Stalactite is pulling out of it, trying to follow Sidley Gix out. But I would be hard-pressed to say that this is their opportunity. This is the kind of thing that we want to see.
Can Vile and the Ellie for red team pull this off? I don't know.
The thing with Vile, the thing with this, though, is that when you go for these Lords, if your damage is projectile-based with these swirling winds that comes out of the casters, most of that damage is going to be unfortunately taken just completely out of the picture. So I don't really see them being able to manage to get that out with only 18 points left for blue to be able to get. Red team's dying left and right, low health on all of them except for Naomi, who's just trying to hold that point at Waterfall.
Quickly got back just in case. To
a good response for sure.
Very good response by blue team.
And it looks like that's going to be it, folks. 499 points right now, and there it goes, ticking over to 501 to 358. A great showing. A great showing indeed.
Game 1 goes to Team Holy. So Team Holy is just one game away from winning 3rd place in our qualifier, winning the consolation prizes. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yep.
So again, we saw that first fight go in Team Holy's favor. What do you think? What do you think Japan, Thailand, Croatia could do differently in this next match to try to flip it over and force a game 3?
One thing I think they might have to try. That power necker does good, but when you get onto it, it's too easy to take down.
It is.
And too often, Vile's going down, and too often he's getting just outdone by the wall of reflection when he goes into Lich, and he's not able to pressure when he needs to. Mime's able to get away when they put the pressure on Mime, and honestly, Mime should be going into downstate all the time with this setup, with all the Condis, with all the damage that they could put out. Mime should be going down as often as they can make it, and he's not. Mime's able to stay alive for a long period of time and provide those portals to his team to get to those nodes quickly, and that's kind of what's putting them ahead. I think if they want to change anything at all, they should change that Necro to Condi and change him to a 06404 Terror build. Get a lot of boon rips on that on Pheonix. Get a lot of shutdown onto Mime, and see if they can win those team fights a little bit quicker, so that when they go into those engagements outnumbered, they can kind of come out victorious sometimes.
At the very least, if Violet is going to stay on Power Necro, I think he just needs to watch his positioning. I think I saw a lot of times where he was sitting on a point where you really don't want to be. You're taking too much cleave damage. You're taking too much AoE damage. He needed to be just a little further back on the point. And I think if you're going to play that Power Necro, your positioning is pretty key. Only go in for those dagger strikes when you're trying to burst somebody down quick. Otherwise, just stay back and let your wells do the work, wait for your openings, but don't be standing on the point for the whole game because you're just going to go down again and again like we saw in that last match. So both teams are coming into the server. They are hopping on to into Battle of Kylo, just trying to get them on the right sides, it looks like.
And just so you guys have the winner here, we have a new winner of the raffle that we just announced a couple of rounds ago. It is Mescape is the winner. Congratulations.
Nice.
You've won the Llama Mini Pet.
And again, guys, don't forget, follow the channel down at the bottom so we can get some more support. And then also, today on Twitter, we are going to be giving away 6 gem codes. So you need to follow us on Twitter and tweet something at us in order to get those gem codes sent to you. And we've got 6 of them to give away, so we've got plenty of them to give away. Just follow us on Twitter, tweet at us, get some gems for you. All right.
And we're about to get started into the game. Why don't we go ahead and switch the cams over into the in-game feed? And just looking at it, here we go. Teams are about to ready up pretty soon. I think we're just waiting on one team to go ahead and get everybody and their team ready to go. Probably like a bathroom break situation or something like that. But just looking quickly at the builds, looks like every team is basically, or every member of the team from both sides is basically just keeping the same thing. Pheonix still running that Wall of Reflection. Vile still running the same build with that Well of Power Lich. He took up Spiteful Talisman now. He's running, Vile running the Focus now instead of that Warhorn that we saw him before. Definitely a good idea, in my opinion, to make sure that he gets some early pressure out on Pheonix and get some boon rips out. That Spinal Shivers is a really strong anti-boon skill for sure.
Neither team is using their Treb, and both teams were able to get the free cap on their home. So it's going to be a mid-battle. With no trolling, though, going over to back cap right away. Going over to back cap the mansion for red team. Let's see if anybody from blue team is able to get over. Nobody from blue team is going to come over. Vile, though, goes down at mid. Went down in an interesting spot, though. No trolling might be able to actually pick Vile up. Let's see if he's able to do it. No, Mimi's able to get the cleave damage off, and so no trolling is just going to sit back and cap the point for mansion. But at the same time, red team's able to get mid, no problem. Very good stuff for red team. Looks like they're about to get a 3 cap momentarily.
Yeah, red team getting an early start out, and it was something that I didn't really expect looking at it, because Vile went down early. Blue team had a very strong advantage in the mid fight, but blue team had to peel out early. Mime and I'm a Happy Camper actually peeled out to one of the outer nodes to try to make sure that they didn't lose that cap, and it kind of hurt them a little bit because they didn't manage to get that mid cap point in their favor, and red team actually took it.
Mime is able to back cap mansion for blue team, so they are going to get that node back in their favor. At the same time, I'm a Happy Camper going over to windmill, so both of the probably the best classes to be doing this, going out and back capping right away for their team. While that team fight is going on mid. So blue team able to flip the side nodes in their favor. Now they're going to get the 2 cap. Let's see if they're going to play sides, or they're going to try to use this opportunity to try to win mid back for their team.
Yeah, and it actually looks like mid-game some of these
it looked like Vile actually used the Trebuchet to try to support mid there. Just to take a couple shots, right away ditched it to try to get over on Mansion to try to help his team. But looking like right now, Mime is not going to be able to keep Mansion, so they are going to lose one of the side points. They are going to lose their 2 cap. With Mime, let's see here. Mime, yep, did go down. The 2 members of blue team rotated over to try to help the fight. Vile popping that Lich Form to try to get some cleave damage. But again, Phoenix right away with that wall of reflection up to counter that Lich Form again. Smart play by Phoenix there. Might be able to actually get the res. A lot of cleave, though, finally coming down from the red team.
And 2 members of blue team down now. Mime's getting in the res, but Phoenix is going to take it. And No Trolling is under some pressure too here at midpoint. Looks like he's going to go into the downstate here, and it looks like they're not going to be able to hold that point for too long with 2 members of blue team getting ready to cap that out. But Sidley's moving in to try to make sure that that doesn't get capped in their favor. Red team with a 100-point gap right now, though. It might be a little bit too late, though.
Yeah. Looks like, let's see here, just a 1v1 Fish and Chips taking that midpoint, keeping it decapped. At the same time, though, you got a 2v1 going on over at Windmill. The Ellie's just barely hanging on with I'm a Happy Camera actually training him in. Looking like Team Holy is going to take this 2-0. If they can keep it up, if they can keep this 2-cap up, they're really putting the pain on, really bringing the pressure.
Yeah, and it looks like blue team got that. They finally managed to get that 2-cap out. They're going to be catching up in points here. Neither team is really making too much plays on the Treb. However, No Trolling did actually try to get some shots off, but Fish and Chimps was really quick to respond to it, and he didn't get off too many shots before Fish and Chimps actually pushed him off of that. And now they're kind of just skirmishing in between points while both team members move to that new brawl that's just now starting up at the Windmill here. So why don't we take a look at this Windmill
I'm a
fight.
Happy Hamper, jumps in, right away gets on Vile, training Vile down. Vile's going to have to watch his position again. He's too much on the point. He needs to back up, try to kite a little bit, reset the fight, reset his positioning, but he's staying on the point, eating a lot of AoE damage. I'm not sure that's good for him. No Trolling also going down, taking a lot of pressure. Vile again finally backs out and gets a little bit off the point. Able to reset his health pool just a little bit because now No Trolling is the focus of the blue team. No Trolling does go down in the downstate. Red team right there to res him up, though. Good, smart positioning by No Trolling to get with his teammates as he went down. The Ellie for blue team is going to go down and get cleaved out. Same with Phoenix. Phoenix is able to go is going down and also cleaved out. Fish and Chips is the only member of blue team left. He's on the point trying to troll it against Vile and Sidley Gix. Good stuff from red team going ahead and now getting that 3-cap again.
Yeah, and here we go. Red team managed to get that 2-cap, and already with the 100-point lead, it looks like red team's going to put some pressure down and try to make a comeback, try to get this into a 1-1 matchup here going into the tiebreaker game after this. But we'll have to see how blue responds to this. Red team is getting Windmill. It's going to turn into a 3-cap. That lead that they already have, that 130-point lead now that is just keeping on ticking here, is just going to add up exponentially here. But looks like blue team's trying to take that into account and move that fight to midpoint. They already got the decap. They're putting in a lot of damage pressure, pushing them off node already. Mime taking a lot of damage
Phoenix
into
went really low, managed to heal up. Managed to actually get healed up. The Ellie's now dancing all over the point, putting a lot of pressure. Just the staff Ellie sitting on the point for a red team. At the same Windmill also being decapped by I'm a Happy Camper. No Trolling trying to get back to that node before it gets full capped. I'm a Happy Camper versus No Trolling fighting on side point in a one-on-one with that big team fight still in favor of blue team just based on the health pool. Blue team able to get Vile down. Vile, it looks like, is going to get stomped out by Mimi. At the same time, the staff Ellie just is going to have to troll that point until somebody else gets there to help him. Not looking good so far.
But there's the Condi pressure coming out. Mime going down. That Mesmer with not a lot of Condi peel running that portal there. And he gets picked right back up. No pressure on him as red team lost a member there. And it looks like blue team's going to manage to get that mid node back. They're going to get a good amount of pressure onto Windmill and decap that, hold that decap, and it's now a 3-point brawl for trying to hold these points.
All 3 points are being put into play here. Mimi is going to full cap clock tower, it looks like. But blue team went a long time without a point. Went a really long time. So red team was able to actually build almost a 200-point lead here as we move into the final stretch.
Yeah. Sidley goes into the downstate, but it looks like it's just a fight now with I'm a Happy Camper down as well. I'm a Happy Camper looks like he's going to go down first, and both of them managed to die at the same exact time, so 5 points go back to each team. Mime moves over to the side note here to support his team, puts a MOA down on Naomi. Naomi's forced to leave. Portal comes out. Team support's ready to go through. He's going to probably portal out, and he does. 2 members of blue team just go right back to mid to hold that node. Probably not a good idea, honestly, with no pressure being put on that node at all. They probably should have stayed to make sure that they could get that point into their favor, but now it's just going to sit at a decap for a little bit longer, and Fish and Chips actually goes down. That's probably a bad response with both of them leaving like that.
Just leaving a little too early, not guaranteeing that the fight was won. Now Phoenix is just gonna have to get on point and troll it, and I'm a Happy Baker, or I'm a Happy Camper is gonna have to come in and actually lay some damage down on the damage dealers.
And there goes the Life Blast autos, taking Mime out of the equation as well, and he's gonna die with that dagger auto just ripping him to pieces. And blue team just lost another member, and it's now down to 200-point deficit with only 60 points left in the match to gain and 5 3/4 minutes left in the match. It's looking like red team, Japan, Thailand, Croatia, is going to manage to take this into a 1-to-1 matchup and go into the tiebreaker game.
Forcing our first game 3. This is awesome. Great way to close. Great way to close. Good stuff from red team. We're finally going to get a third game in our matchup here. As long as the points stay the way they are, I really don't see anything working out here for blue team and any chance for them to come back at this point. I expect GGs to be called here in just a couple seconds, but red team does come back, gets that game on Kylo, and forces the game 3. Good stuff.
Yeah, and Team Holy here, just trying their best to make sure that they can try to get some decaps out and maybe try to get a 3-cap and try to put this into their favor and take this game as game 2. But with only 4 more points, 2 ticks left, it's going into game 3. Here we go.
Game 3, last match of the day, last map. This is good stuff. Which team takes home 3rd? Which team takes home 4th? We're about to find out.
All right. Going into that round a little bit, though, what kind of things do you think that you saw the blue team there doing a little bit differently to make sure that they could, or sorry, the red team there making sure that they can hold those points and take this victory and move it to game 3?
I think it was just the start. You had the start where you were able to not only get your home node, but then no trolling was able to go and back cap right away, get that 2-cap, and then they even won the fight on mid, and they were able to even get the mid fight in their favor. So that early 3-cap, I think, is what put them over. Obviously, just building up that momentum right off the start. It got a little shaky at the midpoint for red team. Blue team was able to get a 2-cap. It looked like they might have been able to come back, but they responded well and they rotated well moving forward. So looking at this last map going to be on Temple, I expect to see both teams rotating well, being very sound mechanically. It's going to come down to who wins the fights.
Yep.
And that's going to be fun to watch. I'm excited to see this last map. Let's go ahead and cut in right away. We're not going to waste any time. Show the last map and get this game rolling. Find out who takes 3rd, who takes 4th in our NA qualifier number 2.
All right, and here we go. Both teams just getting ready. Everybody's readying up. We're about to start the match, just waiting on the teams to be all set to go. And as soon as they are, we'll be ready to start. Just looking at the builds real quick, it looks like all the teams have kind of just kept their builds. Everybody's doing the same thing. We're about to start in 3 seconds here. Yep, everybody is just maintaining their builds. They're just going to try to just win by gameplay again, just changing a little bit and adapting as they need to.
Both teams trying to go trying to go far. Both teams were trying to cross. Only the Guardian for blue team went mid. Nobody else from either team. And the They rotated right away. The Warriors going to cap mid for blue team. And it looks like we're going to have a first team fight, not on mid, but on altar, as both teams tried to cross and sort of ran into each other. And it looked like red team just sort of pushed forward and kept moving over towards the other team's far node.
Yeah, and that gave them a distinct advantage in this fight here, with Mime really, really low already, and red team doing a great job making sure that they can stay in this fight. And Vile getting some pressure put down on him really early. He's going to have to go back on node where Phoenix is, and it looks like he's going to be dropped into the downstate rather quickly, but he gets his heal off, and I don't know if it's enough. I think he's going to go back into downstate. He might want to put his wells down for cover, and I think one well managed to go out, and we'll have to see. There's the res. He got
right
that one well out.
Now let's see.
The second well is down on point. Stalacti's just eating it up. Stalactite goes down into downstate, and so does Phoenix. They both just stood in both wells there. That's a lot of damage to stand in. Vile's still getting some damage put on him. He might drop into the downstate, but he did a great job of making sure that Stalactite goes down and Phoenix goes down, full down, dead on that point.
Wow.
Red team takes an early advantage. Blue team with no points on the scoreboard to talk about. And there goes Vile with another kill. Vile is just ripping people apart this game.
I'm a Ham Camper that was able to get the temple back. Able to get the temple back for his team, but Naomi runs in right away to decap it. So, you know, didn't actually cover the point. So Naomi's going to get the temple back for red team. Red team still building off of that momentum off of that first fight, as they put a lot of pressure on mid right away. Neither team has mid at the moment. Vile goes into +1 that fight, so it's just fish and chips and Stalactite, but it looks like red team is going to be content to just give blue team that midpoint.
And just looking at it here, Vile's just running around here trying to get some damage out to anybody he can. Looks like everybody's going to try to move to altar again for another fight there. Mime gets some good decap momentum going onto that point, but it's just looking like No Trolling is just going to try to stay on it. But No Trolling taking a lot of damage from Mime as well as the other members of blue team, and No Trolling is going to be getting a lot of condies here as with no spirits up, and he does not have his elite spirit ready to go as well. So if he gets more pressure, he might be out of it. They might be able to get that stomp, but Phoenix is also taking just as much damage trying to stay on that point. Both teams with a lot of off-node damage in this game, and just putting pressure on everybody.
You know, I was watching something while you were talking. It looked like Naomi and I'm a Happy Camper were going to run into each other over on Temple, but Naomi said, you know what, I'll just take mid. You take Temple, I'll take mid. Just let him have Temple ran off the point, grab mid for his team. And now
it's looking like they're
running right
swapping
by
again.
each other, and they're just going to swap again. So both teams roamers just trying to keep the points in contention while the big team fight is happening over here on altar, which it looks like is going to go in favor of blue team, as Vile just went down for red team. Blue team is going to take that point back. And Fish and Chips gets the full cap. The mid buff, the 1130 buff, is now up, so naturally I see the fight just sort of sliding over there. Blue team is able to grab the 2 cap, while Naomi goes and gets Temple for red team. So we've got that mid buff come now up at 1130, and they're fighting over that. Looks like blue team has just a couple more bodies. More bodies in better position at the very least, with Sidley and Naomi trying to keep it, while Mime and the Ellie for blue team are trying to get it for their team. So not sure which team is going to have the advantage here. Don't see any team really losing this fight any fast. So we're just going to see a long, drawn-out team fight over at the mid buff. We also have a 1v1 going over on mid. Mid is capped in favor of blue team. I'm a Happy Camper, bringing a lot of damage onto the Ellie for red team. It also got +1 by the Ellie from blue team, which I believe fell down from that midpoint, or from that mid buff fight, which is still ongoing. Neither team really has the advantage. Naomi and No Trolling ahead, trying to take it to Phoenix and Mime. Vile goes into Lich form, tries to make a difference over at that mid buff, then leaves it, hoping that one member of his team can actually get the buff. Red team is able to get the decap over on mid. At the same time, I'm a Happy Camper is able to cap Temple for the blue team, full cap it up with a 2v1, going on over at altar. So blue team able to get those side nodes, now able to make a comeback. with that mid buff just being capped.
Yeah, and if we definitely need to check out this mid fight here. Phoenix got forced off point with a lot of Condi pressure here, and the meteor shower coming up here from Soysao, putting a lot of pressure on him, forcing Phoenix off point very often. But they still managed to put the pressure out on Red. They managed to get Sidley down. A lot of pressure is being put on Naomi and Vile right now, as well as No Trolling now taking a lot of damage too. Phoenix just kind of pushing Vile back off of the node, but he kind of just left the alley there to just full cap it. Soysao just managed to get the entire cap off. They managed to flip mid for their team, and they're gonna try to move that fight now to what it looks like Temple.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, at the same time, we've got the Ellie from Red Team trying to slide over and fight Mime on Altar, but that next big fight is definitely going to come on Temple. The point is neuted. Vile is he's at half health, taking a lot of pressure from the Hambo from Blue Team. Gets down and is right away going to be stomped out by the Guardian. Great positioning there from the Guardian to get that stomp fast, flipping that fight over in favor of the Blue Team. Sidley is getting a lot of pressure now. A lot of Condis were laid on him, so he's got to try to heal up. Leaving Phoenix is actually going to leave that fight just for Fish and Chips to take it. I think the Hambo kind of has the advantage there against the NG in a one-on-one. So you know he's should have that fight momentarily for his team. Going down a little bit, but yeah, forcing him off of the point, putting a lot of pressure. Silly's doing a great job trying to heal up, but Fish and Chips keeping the pain on, trying to bring him down. Close, tense 1v1 going on over at Temple. The bottom buff is up.
Yeah, but this is the kind of thing we wanted to see. Both teams within 50 points of each other for a very long majority of the time that we've been in this match. It's a 1-1 matchup in the final tiebreaker map. This is the kind of action that we've been waiting for all day. And here we go. A lot of fight down here going on at the bottom node. It looks like both teams just trying to go all in for this, make sure that they can get that very strong advantage because it's so close right now.
Sidley just won that 1v1 that I was talking about earlier on Temple. At the same time, you see the Ellie for Staff Ellie for Red Team also going to get the decap on Altar. Just a back and forth game where we're seeing the side points constantly changing. At one point, Blue Team has the 2 cap. Now it's going to switch over to Red Team as they fight for that bottom buff. You also got Phoenix just trolling, trying to stay alive at mid, but he lost the point at mid. Blue Team doesn't have a point, so Red Team is going to get the comeback here.
Yeah, now Soysao.
And Red Team gets the bottom buff. Incredible. So Red Team is really making a strong push.
Soy managed to hold that node against the Thief there on this Staff Ellie build. Lots of point control with that build. Naomi J switching over to the midpoint there, taking a lot of pressure, having to force himself off node, but there we go with the Lich form, putting so much pressure down on Stalacta. Stalacta goes down, but they get the res off with that Shield of Absorption and the Wall of Reflection. Such a good job from Phoenix to make sure that he counters that Lich form. And now Vile's just eating his own autos in Lich form right now, just eating it.
Blue Team is still not able to get a point. They seem to be all in on mid right now. You know, I'm a happy camper trying to back cap, but Red Team has Sidley and their Staff Ellie covering the side nodes. So not only do they have the side nodes, but they're able to really take it to the Blue Team on the mid fight. The Thief for Blue Team can't get a back cap. Blue Team has really been stuck for a long time without a point. Violet just goes down on the Red Team. Phoenix going to be able to get the stomp. Naomi is running low but is managing to heal up. So Red Team is going to pull out of that mid fight, but they kept so many members of Blue Team there. And at the same time, Red Team was able to cover the side nodes perfectly from the Thief trying to back cap. So that's just great high-level play coming out from Japan, Thailand, Croatia. Really good at guaranteeing that 2 cap as we enter just sort of the home stretch on this map. Now, the top mid buff has come up. Looking over at that fight right now, looks like No Trolling and Naomi are going to try to keep Mime from contesting that buff, but Mime is doing a great job of kiting while still staying in range of anybody trying to cap that buff, not letting anybody get it, because if Red Team gets that, this is pretty much game.
Yeah. That's very true. They're definitely going to try to put a lot of pressure on that top buff to make sure that nobody gets that distinct advantage. But here's the thing, with Red Team getting that huge 100-point lead, they're really sitting pretty right now with only 100 points left to gain in the match and only 4.5 minutes to do that. They're in a really good spot right now. If Blue Team doesn't make a move for those side nodes, or if Blue Team doesn't make a move for holding that gate. But here we go. Phoenix actually getting that top buff. If they manage to win that team fight over at the side node there and put some pressure onto Temple, they might be able to make a comeback here with that top buff.
They just have fish and chips, though, over at Altar. Phoenix needs to get over there and keep him up because he is super low as he's been fighting the Staff Alley. And no trolling the Spirit Ranger for Red Team. So, you know, they've got to win this fight, and they've got to win it fast.
And there goes Vile down, too.
It's just not going to be enough time.
Selecta managed to get down Vile off the point, and Selecta's moving back in. A lot of pressure coming in on Blue Team right now, but if they can manage to sustain this, if they can manage to get this point, if they can get that 2-cap going and play to the next buff phase, I think they might have a chance at coming back here.
Yeah, Mime, again, really got a great chance at taking down Sidley here, putting a lot of pressure. Just has to get the decap, though. Has to somehow knock him off the point. Can't let them have this point for too long. Otherwise, I don't think time is on Blue Team's side right now. At the same point, looking over at Altar, not anybody able to get a clear advantage there. Both teams just sort of sustaining each other out. Red Team is going to just leave their Ellie right now to troll the point. As Naomi is chasing the other Ellie, the Blue Team's Ellie, around the fight, but it looks like neither team is actually going to win that. Red Team's still sitting with the only capture point, as Mime has not been able to decap that from Sidley. Sidley's been able to sustain himself against the high burst from the Mesmer, but at the same time keep Mime from knocking him off that point. That's been so far the key, just keeping that point in favor. It's allowed them to keep about a 100-point lead. They're 50 points away from winning third place.
Yeah, and Temple is the big thing here. Letting Red Team, letting Team Japan, Thailand, Croatia hold that Temple point for such a long period of time without any contention and without them ever really having anybody there to do anything about it. Might have been a slight oversight on Team Holy's side, but definitely still a good showing. We have 2-cap coming out and a lot of good buff play coming out as well. We're going to have to see how these buffs play out with Blue Team getting that 2-cap. If Red Team manages to get this point, it might be a problem for Blue Team here.
Yep, and Stag just went down. But Red Team not able to get a finish off on him. Phoenix actually went down. Red Team has the 3-cap, and that's going to be GG. They just called it. There you go. Good stuff from Japan, Thailand, Croatia. Some high-level play, though, to wrap things up. Ruining
our perfect seeding.
Yeah,
absolutely ruining our perfect
Japan,
seeding.
what are you doing, guys?
Yeah, but definitely a great showing for sure. 3-cap coming out at the end, just kind of solidifying that victory for them. But so close on Blue Team.
So close. So close. Well, again, congratulations to Megalodon Confirmed and to No Clue for qualifying for the Tournament of Legends 2 finals that are going to be held on August 24th. Great accomplishment today. Not really surprised. They were the #1 and the #2 seed. So we didn't see an upset today. But we did see 2 strong teams make it into the finals. So now we've got 4 out of 8 teams decided. We got Straight Outta Columbia. We've got Blacklisted. We've got Megalodon Confirmed. And we've got No Clue. Great stuff.
4 very solid teams.
Yeah, can't wait to see the next Misspedia qualifier event. And see what teams actually come out of there. So we've got 4 teams now decided, 4 teams left to go. We're halfway through the qualifying events. We want to thank everybody for coming out today. We want to thank Misspedia for giving us the opportunity to have this event. We also want to thank ArenaNet for all of their support that they've shown us, getting us the gem codes. I've got a lot of personal thank yous for our crew that came out today. We found out on Monday that we were going to be running this event, and yet we were able to get all of our admins together and all of our stream crew. We have about 6 people downstairs running the stream, and we've got 8 admins. So 14 people we were able to get to help us run this event before, kind of last minute. So that's great stuff. Remember, guys, we have our gem code giveaways going on right now on our Twitter account. So you need to follow us on Twitter down at the bottom and tweet something at us. We have 6 gem codes that we're going to give away because ArenaNet was really gracious and gave us these gem codes. So we have 6 gem codes to give away today. So make sure you are following us on Twitter and that you are tweeting something at us in order to get these gem codes. Also, follow the channel because it allows us to fix our quality issues that we've been having. Right now, we've kind of got a workaround that we've been using to try to improve our quality. But becoming a partner with Twitch would help us out a lot. So make sure that you follow the channel. Thank you guys so much for spending your Sunday watching this stream with us. Thank you for all of the competitors. And I'm just going to hand it over to Christian for a last word.
Yeah, just want to thank everybody, especially to our admins as well as the production team. Not only that, but thank you for the teams that have come out and shown such a great show today. I mean, I really had fun watching, really had fun commentating. Thank you also to the viewers. We definitely love the support you guys give us. If you can follow our channel, like Justin said, it would definitely help us out fixing our problems in the future. Sorry again for the couple of problems we had there, but hopefully fix those fast enough for you, and we'll make sure that we don't have those problems in the future, if any at all. So I think that's pretty much it. We can wrap up.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.